Okay, let's begin.
No, you keep talking. So you saw it, you're gonna jump into the IT group?
Yeah, so it actually came out as a pre-solicitation right now. One of the federal organizations actually looking to automate their current service center and help desk. Okay, so what stood out to me was the fact that they're automating everything, and I started looking at like, okay, if this actually is successful, I can see this being replicated. And if it is successful, that means within like the next we're looking at maybe 3 to 5 years, those service center and those help desk contracts, those IT contracts that do come out for that will probably be dwindling down and going away. Because right now it's pretty much a race to the bottom. Like whoever can bring in the cheapest staff, those are the people that are usually awarded those contracts. But now if everything's done through automation and robotic processes, then at that point, not only are they racing to the bottom, but now they're cutting down that staff. So those contracts become less and less lucrative over the next probably like, I'd say 5 to 10 years, depending on how successful this first rollout is. But anyway, let's get back to the COVID stuff. That was just something that I've seen that kind of piqued my interest. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So depending on how that contract plays out could determine what happens in the field of IT over the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, well, let's talk about the opportunity that we have in front of us. And the reason why we decided to go live and share with people is because of a particular opportunity that came out recently. When did it come out, Pierce? Exactly.
So it actually came out on, it says it originally published on the 10th, but I actually got the notification for it today. So like the notification for it, I actually got it this morning when I actually originally reached out to you.
Okay, all right. So you got the notification. Tell us, what it's about and why people should care.
Okay, so what's going on right now is the Department of Defense is working through the Air Force to enforce the Berry Act, basically switching everything from being able to import PPE into the states for the Department of Defense to just specifically American-made, domestically produced PPE. And that ranges from gloves to masks to your gowns to your testing kits, all that stuff. They're trying to figure out who has the capability to be able to do that on a large scale. So if you are a company or you know of any companies that are currently working in that space or operating in that space, this is right up their alley, as the amounts that are being requested are hundreds of millions, and it's also to cover the next 6 to 24 months. So over that time period, you're going to probably be delivering over the next 2 years. For example, with the gloves that we just covered on IG Live, you're going to be covering 250 million annually. That's what they're requesting. So if I'm requesting 250 million gloves and that's over 24 months, that means over that time span, you're going to deliver 500 million gloves, which is a huge opportunity for a small business.
All right. We're talking about really big numbers here, and I'm sure that scares a lot of people out there. I think, the point that I want to make for everyone listening is oftentimes what I hear feedback from folks watching and looking at videos, people send me newspaper articles, they send me television reports and notices how these companies somehow out of thin air in the blue won these really large contracts. And, maybe you do this service or your cousin does it, or you got a friend that does a service. And you're wondering, why were you not made aware of these opportunities? And what I try to say to folks is that, look, they put this stuff out. Yeah, it might be a quick turnaround. Maybe it's put out on a website that you didn't find it on. Maybe it's put out in a source that you don't typically look for these opportunities. But someone knew about this in order to make an award. And so, obviously, most of us are not looking at every single place. We don't even know where to go to look at every single place and every single opportunity. So someone actually put this out. Hold on, Pierce. I'm wondering, is this public?
Yeah, it is. It should be. I mean, of course, with anything, you got to know where to find it. But
no. I'm wondering if the YouTube Live was public. That's why.
Oh.
Go on YouTube Live and see if it's public.
All right, let me see. Give me 1 second.
Because on mine it shows it, but obviously I'm the YouTube.
Yeah, you're the host. All right, let's see. Go to YouTube. Subscriptions. Yeah, you're live.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, cool. All right. So getting back to the story, what I'm saying is that all right, so the point that I want to make is that people out here are a lot of times we're often, we're behind the 8 ball on things. When they come out, when we find out about it, when we hear about it, by the time it hits the news media and it's on TV and it's written an article, it's too late. You've already missed the boat. This stuff has already been, someone's already tracked it down, figured it out, and cut a deal. So what we're trying to do here is bring you the information as quickly as possible, as soon as we find out. And this is the best medium in which I have determined to do so. So again, we are letting people know immediately, as quickly as we know about these opportunities. And this one in particular is related to PPE and the US government looking at alternatives to bringing in foreign-made products. So they're looking at now domestic companies who can manufacture items such as gowns, gloves, what else, Pierce?
Gowns, gloves, testing kits, and screening kits. So if you can manufacture any of those, or anybody that can manufacture those, and they're prepared to ramp up, reach out to them and let them know. Unfortunately, the opportunity is time sensitive because it's all due on August 3rd, but it's a great opportunity as you can get it in there. So.
Okay, yeah, and look, now Pierce, did you find this on Beta Sam?
No, so this was actually delivered to me. It was done through networking. So I normally network with people. You kind of teach that in your course, but I know that you have to outreach, build those relationships. And when somebody has something, they'll normally say, hey, I have this. I don't know if you came across this, and they'll share it with you. So that's why I always try to share and just put out information. And it was sent to me earlier today, like, hey, we have this. If you know anybody that's can meet the qualifications, feel free. And even though, it's not an IT opportunity, which is, normally the space that I operate in, they still knew like, hey, I know this guy's really resourceful and he has a network of people that he works with. So let me send this to him.
All right. So for those people that are just jumping on, what we're discussing is there was an, and I don't know, what would you call it? I don't even know. It's not even RP. What is it?
I would say this would fall, it's not officially a source of salt, but I would say it falls into almost a category of a source of salt.
It's put out like an RFI that they're inquiring about companies who can make PPE items, gowns, gloves, domestically here in the USA. And for those folks who have done government business before, or maybe you've heard about government business, we're very aware that, prior to COVID, most things that you would sell to the federal government did not be made in China. And a lot of things, there were other countries that were on those foreign ban lists of companies in which you could buy products from. It looks like today now, the government is starting to go back to that particular MO, and this is the first step in that process. And what we want to do is we want to get the information out to people that we know, so that they can throw their name in the hat and be able to participate in this particular opportunity. And because it's such a small window of time in which you have to respond, we decide just to come on and make a video about it this Friday afternoon, so that hopefully someone who's watching this information will share it with someone else. And it'll, just like we share all the negative news and the bad press and the Karen videos and all of other silliness stuff, we could share an opportunity for someone to grow their business and scale to a tremendous level. So I'm hoping that, Pierce, can you share your screen and pull it up so people can look at what we're talking about?
Hold on 1 second. So what I'll do is I'll pull up the one for the gloves. I'll pull that up. Let me see. Here, screen share. All right, that is not the right screen. Oh no, it just happened. What happened? Can you see anything?
I saw a screen and then you just took it down.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you hit the arrow so you can close out the right side of yeah, no, not that one. The arrow for organize, create, export PDFs. That right bar, can you hit arrow to close that off?
Oh yeah. So there we go.
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So for this one, let's go back up to the top. And it kind of asks the AOI in the background. So this kind of the rundown that Eric already gave everybody, just giving you a rundown of what their intent is and what they're looking for. For these gloves, currently they're looking for non-sterile powder-free exam gloves or any gowns or isolation gowns that meet a minimum of level 2 or higher protection. And that's pretty much it. So as we scroll down, we'll kind of go into the gloves.
What is AOL? I'm looking at that. Number 2 says AOL.
That's AOI, area of interest.
Okay, number 2. We can't see it now. There you go.
Yeah, so this is an expansion request. So basically what it does is it expands upon these two that are above it, A and B. So it's just going into more detail, just kind of giving you more information on these two opportunities. So with this one, it's basically telling you that, you know, they're looking to ramp this up and expand into this PPE manufacturing within the next 6 to 24 months. And this is kind of where it gets more specific. It says offers can respond to any or all production sections based on their resident expertise and the ability to expand domestic manufacturing. So you don't have to be a subject matter expert. You can be a small business. You can just be starting. And if you look again, it says the Joint Agency Task Force would like to understand industry ability to expand their domestic capability to produce non-sterile powder-free patient examination gloves. So there is no real specific type of glove that they're asking for, just that it's non-sterile, powder-free, and you can use it in exams. And then they ask for the same thing for the surgical gowns and the isolation gowns. As long as it's level 2 protection or higher, it can be disposable or reusable. So, and then as you can see, they're also looking for the raw materials. So if you're a materials company, you're good to go. Now, what I did like about this, scrolling down a little bit further, of course, everything needs to be FDA certified. Hopefully, if you are going for this, or you know somebody who can participate in this, they are FDA certified or they're FDA approved. What I liked was, as we go down into these numbers, it says provide a list of proposed non-sterile and why these were selected. So if you are currently working with an agency or a company that's manufacturing overseas and they're able to bring that back over to the States, the government's willing to work with them on that. And I thought that was like awesome. And then what they have is provide a time.
1 second, Pierce. Just roll through that, just jumping on. What we're talking about is that there was a request put out that's due on August the 3rd. I want you guys to keep that date in your brain. August the 3rd, where the government is now looking for companies who can make PPE items here domestically. And they are putting out a formal request. If you know anyone, or if you're associated with anyone that can make gloves, gowns, what else? Masks here in the United States.
Testing kits.
Testing kits here in the United States domestically. This is the opportunity for you. This is what we're going over, and this is what we're discussing in today's video.
And all right, so continuing on, if you are currently manufacturing in the States, they just want like a little timeline. So it says provide a timeline for establishing domestic production of 250 million non-sterile powder-free patient examination gloves annually. So they'll give you the timeline. And then also they have addressed the required capital investments and additional project costs. So I think, I don't know, but just from the way that it reads, I'm thinking that they're willing to work with you to be able to ramp up if you need to, or if you need more facilities. They're just trying to figure out what do they need to do on their end to make sure that this can become a reality. So they're willing to go above and beyond just from the way this reads, because normally anybody who's looked at a contract or offer knows when they're asking for this information, they will have stuff that they want you to meet. But here they're asking questions to figure out how can they help you to get this done. So that's exciting.
It actually says address any required capital investment and additional project costs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I find that interesting that they're asking like, what issues do you have that can like limit you from doing this? So then if you scroll down a little bit further right here on number 6, it says identify barriers to domestic production and their impacts. So they're trying to figure out like, what would stop this from happening? So they're really trying to figure out, how can we help you be successful in this endeavor if this is something that you can provide us with? And almost help me help you situation. And then provide an estimate of sustainment plans expectations from this domestic capability. And then let me scroll down a little bit further. It asks you to provide additional relevant information for consideration by the review team. So I was like, okay, cool. And then if you already are a domestic producer, what will be required for your company to expand? So I was like, okay, so this is originally, if you didn't have that stuff coming over and you're going to bring it over, cool. What do you need for us to be able to bring it over? And then if you're already producing in this area, then, you know, what do you need to ramp up? So at that point, you can kind of skip that first part because it's pretty much the same thing. They're just asking what made you pick this facility? Why is this facility important? But what I found interesting on this one was they asked the same question, which is what capital investment do you need to be able to ramp up? So if you are a small business, I would say this is a perfect opportunity for you to be able to grow and expand your capabilities for your company if you are working in this arena.
No, it's okay, sweet. So again, now Pierce, look, we've got it. We see the opportunity. We're gonna put a link to it on the show notes of this particular video for everyone out here who's interested. Also, now Pierce, I'm interested, right? I know somebody. All right, I got the information, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to submit this stuff. What, like, how can I, like, how do I submit this?
So the contact information.
Stop sharing screen. Just pull it. Yeah.
What's that?
Stop sharing.
All right, there we go.
All right. Yeah. So again, now, all right. I see the information. I've got the link. I'm looking at it. I call my buddy. He's been making masks, right? He's selling these cloth masks. Are cloth masks acceptable? Is that, are they looking for cloth masks?
I didn't see anything specifically that said.
Okay, but they'll look at that. So let's just say, all right, he's making a 3-ply mask.
Okay.
All right.
So
now what do I do?
So if you know somebody that have that capability and they're currently producing 3-ply masks, I think that at that point, the question would be how much can you produce, and are they FDA certified? Once you get all those things confirmed and they check those boxes, then I would say put together the packet. And if you can't, you know, just reach out and I can help you put together the packet if need be, if you can meet these qualifications. But, you know, just make sure you can meet those qualifications first. You don't want to get in over your head and, you know, you might be reaching out to the government for the first time to see a large number and say, hey, I want to go after this, but it's something you can't do. And now you ran your name through the mud with the government. They're like, no, we're not going to work with them. The last time this company
listen, this is not for people who are experimenting. This is not for people who are just going to attempt to try something. Please do not waste their time. We're looking for people who have already been doing this. It's at this point, if you're not already in this game and you have not done it, don't try to jump on now. I mean, at the point we're at today, again, it's due August the 3rd. Today's July the 23rd, I believe. 24th. So you're really, there's not a whole lot of time left to try to figure this thing out. So, I mean, if you're not already doing it, or if you don't know someone that's doing it, just please skip to this video and watch another video. You know, or share it with someone that you think may be in the space. But absolutely not. Don't try to like say, I'm going to buy a building tomorrow and I'm going to set up a manufacturing facility. So don't do that. We're only looking for people that are serious, that are already up and running, that want to become, play a much larger role in the, you know, as a cog in the wheel of this whole government facility, this whole government like mastermind. But definitely, when Pierce came to me, I was like, yo, we got to go live, share this information out there. Pierce, can you drop your email inside the chat?
Yeah.
Let me share Pierce's email with everybody who's watching. So the person, so they're asking, is it any specific SIC codes? I don't think that it's, again, this is not an RFP. So they're not being, they didn't create special codes for it. They're saying, they list out the things. Forget code. You don't need codes. You need one. Do you make gloves? Do you make masks? Do you make, like, do you make any of these things on here? Forget a code. Look, that's someone trying to go through the formal process. Forget the formal process. This is a out of the box type of solicitation, negotiation. So, and again, unconventional times call for unconventional ways. A lot of stuff that we talk about, and especially my video should drop today about IT opportunities. When you look at, you know, CSOs, OTAs, BAAs, those are non-FAR related types of programs that is a way in which the government can bring in new and innovative technology and solutions and solve problems. And this is something very similar. They just they got a problem. They want this problem
Somebody solve it. Yeah.
So forget about NACS codes, SIC codes, forget about registering SAM and all that kind of stuff. If you can do this, reach out.
Yeah, and it's currently open. So what they'll do is, if you are one of those individuals and you have this capability, as soon as you submit it, within 48 hours, they'll let you know back. So you don't have to wait until August the 3rd to submit. You can submit, well, not today. I wouldn't say you know back by Monday, but if you were to submit on Monday, you know back by Wednesday, you know, if you were good to go. If you submit on Wednesday, you know back by Friday. So this is one of those things where it's high on somebody's list if they're doing 48-hour turnarounds on, hey, you're a go, no go, or hey, we want to work with you. So I would definitely recommend looking into it. And even if you don't meet those threshold numbers, remember, you can always ramp up to those numbers.
Right.
You can supply a portion of that 250 million, or support a portion of those gowns, a portion of those testing kits, a portion of those screening machines or abilities. So don't feel like, well, I don't meet this number, because they're willing to work with you to get you up to that threshold. If you're working with a company and you're the partner here in the States, and you know, hey, you know, I'm working with V Gloves or something like that. I think that's a company, not too sure. But if you're working with like V Gloves and you're like, hey, V Glove wants to move to the States, you know, this might be the opportunity that we can use for it. All right, you know, write it up, say, hey, this is what we need. Go through those steps 1 through 6 and submit that information. That way they know, hey, this is an established company, but we can have them become domestic if, you know, we choose to move forward with them. So don't disqualify yourself, but, you know, make sure it's something that you can do realistically.
Okay, I'm gonna just pull up real quick on the screen again for you guys to see it, to see what we're talking about here, just so everyone can have the information. This is the information that came out. This is what we're talking about: Department of Defense Joint Acquisition Task Force, and Department of Air Force Acquisition COVID-19 Task Force. And again, here's the items that they're looking for. And then on top of that, there's another one where they're looking for the gloves and the gowns. So again, they're wanting to make this stuff, have it made domestically here in the USA. I don't want to hear nobody out here crying, right, about they saw a Wall Street Journal article that someone got a contract for 250 million gloves and they didn't know about it. Because I'm telling you about it right now today. What is it, the 24th you said, Pierce?
Yes, 24th.
All right, so Friday the 24th, I'm sharing with you guys, I'm telling you about the opportunity, so that you, again, I always tell people, be prepared, be ready. We never know when these things are going to come out. And that's one thing that I push, is for you to be ready, because when the opportunity comes and it arrives and it's here, now it's time to act. And so I'm big time in stressing that everyone out there should be ready for when the opportunities exist, when they come around, because we just don't know when this stuff is going to happen. And unfortunately, we're not always given the amount of time that we need to be able to put stuff together. So you got to put it together in anticipation and hopes that it's going to come down in the future. And that way, when it is here and it arrives, you're like, boom, 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 I'm ready to go. So, all right, Pierce, listen, thanks for sharing. We will have a link in the show notes page, and I will put Pierce's email in there for anyone that needs help to reach out. All right.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you, buddy. Later.